Well, we finally did it. This is going to be the first episode, season 1, episode 1 of the Bullet List.
Exciting is that?
Yes, it's very exciting. And now we'll give them the obligatory, "Have you been, Bob?"
Well, since we haven't spoken for such a long time, I'm doing really well.
I know, right? So it's literally been about 45 seconds.
It has. 45 seconds since somebody hit that record button.
Yes, but welcome everybody. I'm obviously Keith, and this is Bob. We will not do this every week. This is the first go round, so we're going to do what we do. I am actually what do I do? I'm with i3 Events, Planner Wire. I got the event tech pull up over there with Tess, and now the Bullet List here with Bob. And Bob, what do you do?
I am a aggregator, curator. In other words, I just help people discover all the new stuff that's coming out in the event industry, particularly if they're podcasting it or videoing about it. So that's the thing.
Look, and we had our first technical glitch.
Yes,
you froze.
Really?
Yeah, haven't frozen in 2 weeks, but we're going to keep going anyway.
Okay. Well, move that along then.
Yes.
All right.
So what is first up on our list? Every episode that we have, we're going to do a few different things, but the first one up on our first thing up in the queue is the short list. And the short list are just a few bullet points that we think over the past week, maybe older, doesn't matter, that we think are important that people should know about. And I will dive right into the first one because I think this is one I selected, which is very timely. The National Association of Manufacturers announces COVID-19 vaccine requirement for staff. We all know the Delta variant is raging across the planet. I'm actually surprised not a lot more associations have not required it for staff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of companies in and outside the event industry want staff to either work from home or if you're going to be in the office, you must be vaccinated.
And I don't have a problem with it, obviously. I really would love it if everybody would get vaccinated. We were talking to Freeman the other day. I actually had a meeting with Freeman about a client's upcoming trade show. And they've required that anytime anyone has their little Freeman name tag on, they have to be vaccinated. They have to wear a mask. And there was one other thing that they do on the show floor, right? I don't have a problem with that. I'm of the firm belief that I actually think that, until this thing is under control, we probably shouldn't be having live events, even though I'm a live event guy.
Well, it's risk management when it comes down to it.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a lot of companies. Is it Facebook at the moment? They're stating, if you can ask. So it's not unusual. It's not something that people shouldn't be too surprised at, that this is now going to become a requirement.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's diverging a little bit, but what should be interesting is when it becomes to vaccination certificates, who's going to be administrating the whole thing? So,
well, and here, I don't know about over across the pond, but, over here, they're selling fake vaccination cards online now.
I saw that on a post on Facebook. Was it $400? How crazy is that? You can get done for free.
Well, the people that are doing it are crazy. First off, I will not mince words. I am not a big fan of people. If you have a medical reason why you cannot get the vaccine, I get it. That's not who I'm addressing this to. This is to the idiots who think that they're putting microchips in you or whatever. I mean, come on, get with the program.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get out of this thing. And that actually goes right into the next short list item, the next bullet point on this one, which is all of this has led to labor shortages. So anyone that's doing a trade show, you are actually going to have problems because they don't have the labor. You know, I was at an in-person event in Minneapolis. They had to put up a small trade show, 50 booths, and none of the labor showed.
That's
so the two managers had to do it overnight.
Wow,
not fun. So, but anyway.
Well, I've again from the posts that I'm looking at, which I'm curating and all that. I've noticed is the hospitality industry in particular is suffering from labour shortages, and I've seen numerous posts where it just doesn't look good.
And is it the same over there?
Well, we've got but we've got the added complexity of, if I can say the words properly, that we've got Brexit. A very short way. Once Brexit happened, we sent all, I hate to use the word, cheap labour. We sent them all back home.
Unskilled labour.
Unskilled labour. We basically said, you're not welcome anymore. Please go back to your country of origin. And then a few short months later, we get people saying, I don't seem to have any lorry drivers. I think there's going to be shortages at supermarkets. What a surprise. So yes, COVID is making things difficult. And now we've got the Delta variant making things possibly even more difficult. But layered on top, or layered underneath, depending on your point of view, Brexit has meant we've sent all the unskilled labour, when I say unskilled, they've worked in the farms, who did the lorry driving. They're important jobs because they're part of the infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think, even unskilled, even though I guess because that's the positions that they fill, right? Or unless they're a lorry driver, that's obviously skilled. But I mean, a lot of them are actually people who come from other countries that they have PhDs, right? They can't work there.
Absolutely.
So they come to somewhere where they can work and support their families. But yeah, I mean, that was a thing. Well, it's still kind of going on here, but it's like you need people.
Yeah, people facing jobs are in demand, but with the COVID, with Brexit, life's getting a little bit more complicated than it should be.
Yeah, and I'll keep us on track here, because I know that we got to get through our short list here. But let's move off to something not so dire. So Microsoft has acquired video streaming company Peer5 to integrate their services into Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft Teams, for virtual events anyway, they're trying to really make a play, right? They know Zoom has got that market locked up. You've got the Hopins of the world and the AirMeets of the world, and Teams is really trying to give it a go. They do offer a few unique features that others don't. One is NDI support, so you're able to pull out individual people from a Teams meeting and put them out into a live stream. But everybody seems to hate Teams.
Yeah. A year or so ago, I did meet a lady, and we were talking about live video stuff like that. And she was selling Microsoft Teams. That was the product they were pushing. And she was saying, yeah, it's a real tough sell.
It's one of those things where Microsoft was always great because unless you're on the back end of like setting up emails in Office 365, it was pretty straightforward, right? But now they're trying to layer Teams with the chat and the video and everything. They're trying to integrate everything, whereas Google was built on top of integration. Everything with Microsoft was kind of separate, and now they're trying to integrate it. I don't know. Microsoft is
it sounds like that. It's bloatware almost. It's where they're trying to make the single app, as it were, that and the other. Whereas, so it becomes part of a great big globular thing. Whereas Google has a backbone which they're putting services onto.
Yeah, that's
why Zoom's worked, because it was an app singular. It did its job. It did its thing. Fine.
Yeah. In fact, I was actually with even Zoom, and this is a branch for us here. I'm both happy and unhappy the fact that they're now having integrations through whatever they call them, zaps or whatever. The ability the add-ons.
Yeah.
Because now they have like 80 or 100 of them that you can add in, which is cool. But it would be cool if they had like 20. Do you really need 80?
Well, just remember though that Zoom was only a business conferencing app. It was never meant really for these or individuals to actually have a chat with. It was a business video conferencing app. It's become, let's all use this. It's a free thing. Let's use it. So I guess they're pivoting in a way.
Yeah. And now they're like Kleenex, right? You don't ask for a face tissue anymore. You ask for a Kleenex. You don't have a video chat anymore. You jump on Zoom.
Same
and it doesn't matter what you are jumping onto.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same as search. You go Googling things.
Our last shortlist thing is LinkedIn adds native video meeting option.
It has indeed. So now you can have, I think this applies only to the app. So if you're having a chat with somebody and you say, well, we could always have a video chat about it. You don't leave the app. You stay with it, turn it into a video call.
What do you think?
The thing is, from my experience of LinkedIn, it's all business stuff. So you get somebody to go from what may be a sales chat into a video call. It's supposed to be sort of like unprompted. It's let's jump on a video call. Let's just do it. And you've got to convince the other person to do that without scheduling it and say, yes, I've got the time for it now.
Yeah, I don't know how well it's going to fly. Only because, to your point, yeah, it is. It's business, right? My LinkedIn is business contacts. They're not friends. I mean, some of them are friends, but if I'm going to jump on a quick video, let's say I'm on LinkedIn with you and we're chatting about something, we're not going to connect in LinkedIn on video, right? I'm going to go, hey, here's a Zoom link.
Well, the thing is, if you're one of those people who are doing LinkedIn in the evenings and you're sitting there maybe just in your pants or you're in the bath or not really, and somebody says, great chat to you, let's do video. Yeah, no.
Well, and then, with the proclivity of people on LinkedIn that, they want to connect with you. Oh, look, they're in my town or whatever. And you connect with them. And then they're like a financial person and they bomb you with like 400, messages of, that's actually, I fear on LinkedIn that those are the people that are going to abuse it. And then the rest of us are going to turn away from it entirely because it just becomes another spammy outlet.
I have a feeling it's a Me Too feature.
Yeah.
In other words, if we don't have video, they'll go somewhere else. So we better have it. Simple as that.
It is. All right. And with that, that's the shortlist. That is going to be the shortlist segment. A few quick snippets on stories and things that we found interesting this past week.
We ramble on about stuff and get our words wrong and, just generally make a mess of it.
Hey, it's the first go round. If 5 people listen to this, it'll be that aren't related to us and don't know us. It'll actually be amazing.
No, we have the listener. That's all we have. Just the mum. I'm not sure. As soon as she's able to work out how to play a podcast, then she'll be the listener.
There you go. All right, and now we're moving on. Well, and we're back. That was fun. Our first segment was fun.
That was good. Even if the audio quality was a little bit iffy in places, but it should be better now.
But but for event people, I think that's a good thing to know, right? Is, little audio issues happen in live events, right? And what do? You fix them.
Absolutely.
You cannot.
Absolutely.
You can't stop what was happening, but as long as you correct the issue, no harm, no foul, I guess. As long as it doesn't bring the whole show down.
Absolutely.
But what do we got next?
Okay, so we've got this is the bullet list. This is what we're all about. Each week we'll be taking a topic, and we're going to be discussing normally 5 major points. Nothing complicated, nothing too in-depth, but things to make you think about, things to take into consideration, as it were. So we're going to kick off this time with, I've called it Twitter for business use. However, it's more of an introduction to using Twitter. So we'll kick off with bullet point number 1. So basically, if you're not already using it, use it. Turn up. Start tweeting.
Yeah, and it is, and I do know that we're not going to take a massive deep dive into all these subjects, but that is actually probably, what do you think, the most important point on the whole list we're going to say?
Well, for business, you only survive by having attention. People only notice you if you're out there waving your arm, jumping up and down, saying, "Come look at me, look at what I've got." Twitter is one of the cheapest ways of doing it. As in, Twitter's free. So if you're not using it and not getting if you're not being seen, then nobody's going to see
you. Well, and it's also your message too. So if you're jumping up and down yelling, "Register now, register now, register now," no one's going to pay attention.
Exactly.
But I mean, but to your point, yeah, if you have to be out there and how many times. And this is funny because people always gasp when I give them my answer. What do you think the maximum number of times you could post in a day on Twitter is?
I don't think there is a maximum.
That's the hard. You say that to people and they're like, "What?" But people will unfollow you. Like, not really, because Twitter's a waterfall. Right?
Well, the thing is, the people who unfollow you are probably not the ones you want to be getting the attention of. So don't worry about it.
That actually, very true point. Very true point.
Which actually segues quite nicely to bullet point number 2, which is tweet often. So the best way to attract new followers and show them that you are serious is to tweet often.
Yeah, and it's really funny when I've my personal account or Planner Wire that I've tweeted less and less and less, and it has hurt, right? When I started on Twitter back in, I don't know when Twitter started, I was tweeting and building up an audience, and then I started to tweet more, and the audience really started to grow, right? And then I at one point had over 10,000 followers, just little old me, and and now that I have slowed down tweeting, the number of people that follow me has followed suit.
It's going to go down. Yeah, that's to be expected.
Yes. So I think it goes into, you have to, there are so many things when it comes to a live event, so many things that you can tweet about, right? There are so many, and not only Twitter, but any social media platform. There are so many things that you have. Every event is a story, right? And so you can tweet about your speakers, your sponsors, your attendees. You can, it's absolutely endless, the amount of stuff that so no one is lacking for content. I think that people just don't know what to tweet, and I think that it pays to actually educate yourself a little bit on what your audience wants. Go find other people, go find the other people in your industry that are doing really well on Twitter, and look at what they're tweeting.
Exactly. The way I see Twitter is of the here and now. So Instagram is, look at what I've done, because you're taking photos of it. With Facebook, it's, hey, Mum, look what I've done. But Twitter is the here and now. So for example, if you're at a show and you've gone to, I'm now heading up to such and such a stand, can't wait to see what these guys are going to be talking to me about. That's what you're doing now. And people love to follow your story, what you're doing. Yes, there are people who tweet memes and infographics and links and stuff. But the most benefit is when you're tweeting about what you are now doing. And it's brilliant if you could, like doing a virtual event, you could tweet, we're about to interview such and such. Don't forget to tune in because you'll see him.
Exactly. Well, and you know what? And see, now I get all excited. I'm like, the one of the most underutilized things that people never do is they never talk about the planning. And, you know, it is really awesome, you know, in the year leading up to your event, you know, talk about, you know, who you've just signed, what you've just done, right? All of that kind of stuff. And, you know, tweet photos of the team that are actually planning the event. You know, hey, we just finished the floor plan. Click, here's a picture, right? You know,
yeah, exactly, because that's what Cvent have been doing with their podcasts. Behind their big their 2021 event, they were doing behind the scenes on a podcast. Now, we're not exactly talking about podcasting, but with Twitter, you could do something similar. You can adapt that idea and start tweeting out, you know, we're now preparing this, we're now doing that. You get the excitement going. The way I break it down is exactly the way I would do it for a series of blog posts. There's what you're doing before, what you're doing now, what happened. So that's the third post. And then you can always do a fourth one where lessons learned sort of thing. You can apply that sort of that thinking towards Twitter as well.
You know, I actually, you know, because in an essence, Twitter is just short form blogging.
Exactly.
That you absolutely could.
Yeah.
Well, and that actually segues right into bullet point number 3, which is
be consistent. Oh yeah, be consistent. Now, the thing is, with Twitter, current stats show that a tweet has a lifespan of 24 minutes.
And that is very hard for a lot of people to not understand. You know, especially people that don't know Twitter, right? It's, you know, Twitter is a waterfall. It is water pouring over the edge, you know, and
yes,
people never go back.
Oh, they do. Funny enough, I have found through my Event Plan News Twitter account, I've had people liking posts that are like 1 to 2 days old, 3 days old.
Huh. But are we normal though?
I've never really described myself as being normal, you know, but you know, I've got certificates that prove otherwise, though. So basically, I think some people will go back, but the thing is, you want to attach that attention, so you don't know when people are actually going to be looking at their Twitter stream. So you need to be in it. So for myself, I now tweet every 45 minutes. Because at some point, someone's going to see it.
Yeah, and you know, and not to scare folks, but you're absolutely right. You know, if I could go back to my big tweeting days, it was probably once an hour, and you know, that is where now you have to use a tool, right? You don't use the Twitter interface. And this goes for all social networks. You know, you've got to use a Hootsuite, a buffer, so you can load up a week's worth of posts on Monday morning. So that
I don't want people getting scared of thinking, I haven't got the time in the day to do that many tweets. There's two solutions. One, which, as you suggest, you can schedule tweets in advance. So I tweet schedule a whole bunch in the mornings, giving me lunchtime and afternoons free. But secondly, you can work out when you can conduct LinkedIn surveys, Twitter polls, try and gauge when you think that your followers are actually accessing their Twitter account. Are they mostly the mornings? Are they the afternoons? Are they evenings? And therefore, you know when to concentrate your tweets.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that people, you know, shouldn't forget is they're like, oh, we're not going to tweet at 10 p.m. at night because our audience is going to bed. Well, that's exactly when you ought to tweet, because we all know what everybody's doing. They're all sitting in bed with their thumb on their screen, flipping through stuff.
Absolutely. So, speaking of getting hold of people's attention, so that brings us to number 4, I believe.
Oh, hashtags.
Hashtags. So if people are saying, so a tweet's got 24 minutes lifespan, there's people who look only at certain times a day, but Twitter is also searched because people want to know what other people are saying. Or you're looking to do some research if you're looking at press release stuff, or you're trying to get some feedback or whatever. So you've got to use the right hashtags.
Yeah. And for the event organizers out there, one hashtag is the name of the event. If you have a very long name in your event, shorten it somehow. The AAA21 or whatever it happens to be, there's your first hashtag. The second hashtag and the third hashtag, have a little research on, find the other industry hashtags that you need.
Also, you can actually use words that are appropriate. So almost like summarizing a single word.
Yeah. So if you are doing a conference for orthopedic surgeons, hashtag orthopedic surgeons.
Yeah. But if, for example, say the orthopedic surgeons are having a virtual event, right? So one hashtag would be orthopedic surgeons. Second one might be virtual events. Third one might be event profs. So the important thing is to choose words that are already hashtags and are appropriate to the subject matter that you're tweeting about.
Yes.
Do not invent a new hashtag, because nobody will be searching for it.
Good point. I actually do think that is a really good point. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Twitter is not new. This is not some newfangled technology. So these hashtags are not new. You want to go after the hashtags that people are already following. My one caveat to that would be, if your event is new, then of course you're going to have that new hashtag, which is your event name. But people will start to follow that hashtag because they're seeing it on the other hashtags.
I suppose what we're saying is the intent. If you're inventing a new hashtag, it's because you have told everybody to look for that hashtag. So if you're an association and you've given the user an event name as a hashtag, then everybody knows to search for that hashtag. If you're looking for the whole Twitter world to actually find you, then you have to use an established hashtag.
Yes.
So it all comes down to intent. If in doubt, go to a site like Hashtagify. I have to read that twice. I literally said hag. But anyway, Hashtagify me. And another thing I picked up from the Royal National Institute for the Blind, RNIB, so charity in the UK, they say make the first letter, because you know how we go hashtag word. So sometimes words are jammed together. Make the first letter of each one a capital, because it helps with screen readers.
And that's actually, we're actually trying really hard to work on accessibility, not only for, at a live event, but also online. So, we've been running websites through, software that makes sure it's accessible to people who need screen readers and things like that. And that's actually, you taught me that. I did not know that. And now it's like, that makes perfect sense to me. And so now I'm putting caps in the hashtags.
Exactly. I'm a little disappointed with sites like LinkedIn that don't do it automatically. I would have thought it would have been an automatic thing to identify the words in a hashtag and capitalize the first letter of each. But they don't. And I have to fight against it when I'm typing in hashtags.
Well, and it's funny, I just don't think it's on their radar yet. And which is a shame, right? Because, there's a whole audience of people out there that for lack of a better term, you are neglecting.
Absolutely. When it comes to accessibility, that's something we will be covering in a future bullet list. So if any listener has any tips about accessibility, do's and don'ts, then just let us know and we'll feature it.
Yes. Hello at.
See, we got that far yet.
Have we got that far yet?
We're too shiny news for that. Actually, we've got a webpage. If you go to the bulletlist.com blog, we have got a form you can fill in that where you can leave your tip.
Yeah, and it's bullet-list.
Yes, bullet-list.com.
Yeah, so when something like a bullet list is already taken, you got to do what you can do with the domain.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But wait, we're not done with this list.
No, because we're on to number 5.
And number 5, go for it.
Oh, mention others. Credit where credit is due. Mention an author. So if you're sharing a blog post that you found, which is something I do a lot, I always start off with check out this new, or I'll put a few words in the beginning to make sure it's viewable by the entire Twitter world. Because if you put the @ sign at the beginning, that it is aimed at that person, it makes it difficult to find. But so I go like, check out this post by, and I give the Twitter handle. So like, if I'm sharing one of your posts, check out this post by Keith at i3 Events or at Plannerwire. And
on the rare occasions I still post.
Yeah, on the occasions that you do. And you're gaining. First, there's a lot of benefits from doing that. First one is you'll get the attention of that person. They'll see on their Twitter page or whatever thing they're using, you've been mentioned, and they'll see that you've mentioned it. So you have a chance of being retweeted, or you get a like, or you get a comment, which again is seen by everybody.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've encouraged all of our clients to do, whether or not they actually do it is another story, but is, let's say you've got a 3-day conference, and over the course of that 3-day conference, you're going to have, between panels and keynotes and plenaries and all the different folks that are going to be there, you've got 50 or 55 speakers. Right? Yeah. There's 50 posts right there.
Absolutely.
And if you're, if it's a panel session and you say, hey, don't miss this panel with, and then put all those speakers, right? All of their, link them to all those posts, even sponsors. We've got one client that has 500 exhibitors. That's 500 posts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The principle also applies to retweeting. My habit is, if I'm retweeting something, I retweet with comment, and I say, have you checked out this great post by, with a name, and then my own hashtags. So I'm, again, bringing the attention that I've done this to the original author of the tweet. Yeah, and you start getting likes, and who knows, they may even become a follower.
Well, here's the funny thing. If you come out of the gate with 0 followers and you start tweeting good stuff, right, talking about your event, and you're tagging each one of those speakers, the speakers would be an idiot not to follow you back. And the same with, all of your sponsors, they'd be an idiot not to follow you back. Now, I will say that you're going to get more followers from the speaker side of things than you will from the sponsors, because typically a sponsor's audience may not actually be your audience, right? Depending on what industry you're in. But again, if it is in the same industry, you actually could get attendees out of it, right? We'll go back to, sheep shearers, right? If you do the International Sheep Shearers Convention, which I actually think there is one, but, we need to make up our own fake event. But if the sponsor is a sheep shearer who could attend your event, then you might actually gain new attendees just from that. And if you are an association, that is actually a way to build new members, right? This isn't just about the event, and it isn't just about, you getting out there. It actually can leach into other parts of your business or your organization. So if you're an association, I know all associations are having trouble with membership right now, right? And so if you are, you need to start reaching out, and you need to find the people that don't know you exist, or in the past haven't cared that you exist.
Exactly. Again, it's all about bringing attention, just jumping up and down, waving your arm, saying, here I am. So
And here's my thought to leave our first bullet list on. If you are an industry association and you are not the leader of that industry, what in the hell are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just to summarize quickly then, what we've been discussing on the bullet list. So basically, turn up and start tweeting. Do it often enough that you'll start getting some attention. Be consistent. I'll actually add to that, which is be very patient. You're not going to get things happening overnight. And it may not even happen after 3 weeks or 3 months, but if you keep at it, it'll happen. Anyway, use hashtags. Don't reinvent the wheel. Use the hashtags that are relevant to what you're posting about. And if possible, well, whenever possible, mention others. Give credit where credit's due. That's it. We're done.
We did it?
I think that's it. I think it might be time for some sign-out music. I don't know. How about you?
I think we can do that. And when people can just tune in, we're going to be here doing this once a week, hopefully for the foreseeable future.
That's the plan.
Delta's rearing its ugly head, so we'll probably be here for a while.
Yeah. That's it. We've decided we're not going out. We'll do podcasts instead.
I got to fill up the day somehow.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. Take care and be good.